Hi guys, today we're going to work on graphing linear inequalities. And you'll notice that I'm using one of the graphing sheets again. And in the middle I've listed this as graphing linear inequalities part 2 because we did part 1 the last time. So we're going to do two different practice ones here to get some more examples of what you need to kind of be working your way through. So I'm going to turn this a little bit here. So my first one is graph y is greater than negative x minus 5. So the first thing I would do is add a 1 there. So it's really negative 1. Now, if my slope is my m value, that would be right here. So it's negative 1 over 1 for my rise over run. My y-intercept is my b value, which is negative 5. Now we need to determine our line. Remember, our line is determined on our inequality. So if I have that inequality, that means it's going to be a dashed line. And when I talk about shading, if that's the inequality I have, then I'm going to shade above. So now I've got all my important pieces of information so that I can go through and start to graph this. Hang on, I'm just trying to make it big enough that you can all see. There we go. So x and y is there. I'm going to start by graphing my y-intercept. So negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my slope is negative 1 over 1. So I'm going to go down 1 and over 1. So I keep going forward. Now to go back, start with the y-intercept again right here. And I would go up 1 and back 1, kind of backtrack. Now, I tend to make a lot of points. You don't have to, but you do need at least several points or a straight edge to be able to get these. Okay, so that everything's lining up. So I have my dashed line here. And if I'm going to shade above, above would be on this side up here. Now remember, you can get close to the line, but we don't want you to actually hit it. Because then it's hard to tell whether your line is dashed or filled in, especially if you're using a highlighter. Okay, now remember, in this case, anything in the shaded area is going to be a solution. The dashed line, if it's dashed, that's a boundary, so it doesn't count, but everything on this side does. Okay, now I'm going to move to the other example here. So I have y is less than 2x plus 5. So to get my slope, which is my m value, is 2 over 1. So rise over run. My y-intercept is b, which is positive 5. So remember, when you're taking that, you're taking the sign in front of it. So if it's plus 5, that would be positive 5. Now to do my line, if I have an inequality that looks like that, it's going to be a dashed line. To talk about the shading, if my inequality is that, I'm going to shade below. Hang on. It's got a mind of its own at the moment. Okay, so shade below. Now, I have all this information here that's going to help me graph on here. So I'm going to take it and turn it. So this is X and Y. So I start with my y-intercept first, so it's positive 5. Now my slope on this one is 2 over 1, so I'm going to go up 2 and over 1. So I can only get 2 more points. Then I'm going to have to work backwards. So from here, I would go down 2 and back 1. Now I know this about myself, the more points I have, the better off my graphing is. So I want to get as many points as I can. Now again, getting my dash line here. And on this one, I'm going to shade below. So here's my below. Now remember, get as close as you can, but don't hit the line. That way it's easier to read for us when we go back to look. Okay, you got a couple more examples now to work your way through and to look back on. We'll do some practice together in a little while.